grade 3. Miss Liz here, and we are going to work on the past tense. All right, so we are going to do some work on finding and writing the past tense. All right, so I'm going to start off with this. Okay, it's pretty easy. All right, so we're going to do this together. We're going to do a couple worksheets together. Okay, and then there's one for homework, and you'll listen to read aloud at the end of this lesson. Okay, so this is the past tense. All right, and what we're going to do in these boxes is we're going to figure out, and I'm going to give you time to decide which one, A or B, is past tense. So for this first box here, we have the sentence, she bangs on the door. That's A. B, we moved to Oklahoma. Oklahoma is a state. Which one, A or B, is past tense? She bangs on the door or we moved to Oklahoma? That's right. We are going to circle B. We moved, past tense, ED, to Oklahoma. Okay. Next box right here. Mr. Field, A. Mr. Field returned the books. Or B, they board the ship. Which one, A or B, is past tense? Mr. Field returned the books or they board the ship. That's right. A is past tense. B is past tense if we said they boarded, but they board is present tense. All right, moving on. A or B? I'll read the sentence. A, Jerry turned down the road. I think it means down the road. So Jerry turned down the road. Or B, Claire babysits my children. Babysits is like take care of, right? So A, Jerry turned down the road. Or B, Claire babysits my children. Which one is past tense? That's right. A, Jerry turned down the road. It already happened. Okay, next box. Which one is past tense? A, Jim and I walk to school. Or B, we talked on the phone for 2 hours. Which one is past tense? Jim and I walk to school or we talked on the phone for 2 hours? That's right, B. We talked. And listen to the sound that talked makes. Talked. Turned. All right, all these past tense. Returned. Moved. Okay, so only one of them has a T sound. The rest have a D sound. Good. All right, let's move on to the second side. Okay. So A, is it he joked about the game? Or B, he will clean the bathroom? Which one is past tense? A or B? He joked about the game or he will clean the bathroom? That's right. A, he joked. Hear that T sound? He joked about the game. Okay, next box. So that's over here. So is it A? Which one is past tense? Kathy will climb Mount Everest. Or B, Jake biked home from school? A or B? That's right, B. Jake biked home from school. Biked. And because the last sound is a K, we have that T sound, right? Biked. So, next one. Which one is past tense? A, the bee will sting you, or B, we loved our summer vacation? Which one is past tense? A, the bee will sting you, or B, we loved our summer vacation? B, good, we loved. Duh. The V sound, love, means that it's a D-E-D sound. Okay, next. Last box. I visited Grandpa every weekend, or Mr. Burnt teaches math. Which one is past tense? A or B? That's right, A. I visited, because of that T sound, it's an id. I visited Grandpa every weekend, right? Okay, so the answers would be B, A, B, A, B, B, A. Okay, very good. So the next work we're going to do, I'm going to do it with you, okay? But then we have another worksheet just like it where you will do it by yourself and then I will give you the answers, okay? So, and that one we might do in a second video, all right? So, you ready? Okay. Now just pay attention to one question at a time, okay? So, we're going to complete the sentence with the verb in past tense. So, number 1. Bob and Mary move to Chicago. How do we make it past tense? We need to add ed or just d? Good. We're going to add d. So, Bob and Mary moved to Chicago. Okay? Really good. Okay, number 2. The children race their toy cars. How do we make it past tense? Add ed or add d? That's right. The children raced their toy cars. So we just add D, right? This is what we added. Because it ends in an E, we just add a D. So number 3, Steve and Danny laugh together. How do we make it past tense? We need to add D or add ed? Ed, right? Steve and Danny laughed together. Okay? Next, number 4. Add D or ed? Sue and Sophie, great name, like swimming at the lake. How do we make it past tense? Add D or ed? We're going to add just the D because it ends in an E. So, Sue and Sophie liked swimming at the lake. I'm going to ask you at the end if you can hear the sound, okay? The sound of the ed. But for right now, we're just going to work on spelling. So, number 5. Ned and his big brother thank Mr. Wilson. Do we add ed or just D? Ned and his big brother thanked Mr. Wilson. Number 6. Michael and Lacey whisper about their big surprise. Do we add D or ed? Good, we add ed. Whispered. We add ed about their big surprise. Number 7. The class smile for the picture. How do we make it past tense? We add D or ED? D, good, because it ends in an E. So they smiled for the picture. Number 8, my uncle visited us last Christmas. My uncle visited, right? Visited last Christmas. So V-I-S-I-T-E-D, right? E-D. We must add the E-D. My uncle visited us last Christmas. Number 9, she piled up our books onto the desk. How do we make that past tense? D or ED. We add D or ED. Here we will add D. She piled up our books onto the desk. And number 10, the gardeners plant the seeds today. The gardeners planted, right? What are we going to add? D or ED? The gardeners planted the seeds today. Okay. All right. So let's go over the sounds really quick on this, and then we will move on to you doing this just by yourself, and then I give the answers at the end. So Bob and Mary moved. What sound is at the end? D, T, or id? Moved. D. The children raced their toy cars. D, T, or id? Raced. They raced. It's a T sound. Number 3, Steve and Danny laughed together. What sound is at the end? T, D, or id? Laughed. T, right? Sue and Sophie liked. What sound is at the end? Sue and Sophie liked. It's a T sound. Next, Ned and his big brother thanked. What sound is that? T sound. Was thanked. Number 6, whispered. Whispered. Does it end with T, D, or id sound? Whispered. D. Good. The class smiled. What does it end with? D, T, or id? Smiled. D. Okay, and this one. Number 8. My uncle visited. D, T, or id sound? Visited. Id. ID sound. Number 9. She piled. What sound? D, right? Piled. And number 10. The gardeners planted. T, D, or id? Planted. Id sound. Really good. Okay, I will see you in the next video.